Welcome, Mystic Travelers, to the Black Mirror Oracle. Today, as I was scrying in the Black Mirror, I got more of a little story than I did of a single image. They kind of flowed together. And at the end of this reading, I will do a channeled message for you. So what I saw today was a tree filled with stars. So there were stars in the branches. And then suddenly the stars dimmed, and then meteors or stars started crashing down around the tree. And then there was fire all around. Then I saw like rays of light shining behind the tree, and the tree sort of transmuted into a human form. And these statues arose on each side of angels blowing trumpets. And what I got from this was a very, very strong tower to judgment energy, if you're thinking in terms of tarot, right? So in a lot of traditions, they're trees, you just sell, you have the tree of life in Kabbalah, different things like that. And, the stars in a tree, in some traditions, those represent memories. And I actually once had a vision of a tree, and every time before I knew that was a thing, and every time I touched a star within this tree, a memory came up. And then with the stars inside the tree, so the memory's fading, followed by the crashing of the stars and the fire, which gives me very strong tower energy, and then the blowing of the trumpets, which is judgment energy. It feels like there's a good chance there's something in your past that's trying to wiggle its way up that really needs to be healed. So in your subconscious, something that really is calling out for exposure and clarity. And we see the tower as the scary card in tarot, but, I don't see it that way. It is, the lightning bolt is there to clear you out, just like in the tree of life. The lightning bolt in the tower represents that flash of spark of understanding, flash of light, of clarity. It's just very painful because changing from what you were, discovering that maybe a lot of the ways that you were living were just illusions. That's such a painful thing to go through, but it's something that we all go through. And I don't know if it's a natural result of being human, but I do know it's a natural result of living in society where we're around people and we have cultural ideas and we're raised certain ways. So we end up with, a shadow, and you have to work through your shadow work and things like that. So moving from the tower to judgment, judgment is the day of reckoning. Judgment is the day when the scales tip, not in a bad way, but like basically where whatever this memory is, whatever this thing is, can no longer stay hidden. Maybe you've pushed it down and pushed it down. There's nothing wrong with that. As I always say, we rise to the level of our own capabilities. If something's not ready to be seen or dealt with, you will only see it and deal with it when it becomes visible enough. So don't be hard on yourself. Okay, so we have this girl in a candy tower. Tower card. I like this because, I think she's holding a hairbrush, brushing her hair. And she's high up there, but there's no other creatures around. This makes me think of how the journey is always, it can feel very lonely. And like I said, always go and get the help you need when you need it. But, it's not necessary that it has to feel lonely, even though you know that your inner journey is one that everyone takes on their own. But when you learn that it's not other people's responsibility, that it's your own, but that other people will happily walk beside you in this journey when you don't try to pressure them to take on your work, right? I'm not talking about you. I want you to think about this both ways. This could be somebody you know as well. We all, I think, have met somebody who tries to dump their own spiritual work, emotional work on another person. And so with this being a tower, just like I was saying where I was getting these tower images in my head, don't isolate yourself. But also this tower is so sweet compared to the one, right? So after the explosive lightning bolt comes the quiet. And after the quiet and the healing and through the judgment, then comes the sweetness. And then we have a little girl hiding behind a door, and there's like a giant teddy bear peeking around the corner. To me, the teddy bear, thinking about that makes me think of like childhood, right? And so this actually reinforces the idea of hiding from a certain childhood memory or past event that maybe you're really struggling to handle. Whether you remember it consciously or not, whatever it is, it's something that really needs to be reflected on and healed. And like I said, it's going to just keep surfacing. And what happens with these things is if you do not approach them and get the help you need and do the work, then they're going to come back in a more and more extreme way. Because basically it's trying to show you there's a symptom here, there's a problem, and you need to take care of it. So it's going to keep coming back again and again. For your shadow cards, we have a boy stuck in a music box, and all of the notes are on the ground. And then we have an island and a teardrop. So there's a teardrop, and in the teardrop is a green island. So getting a lot of energy here of feeling trapped within yourself, within this, with the music box, it's got like wrapped in a circle, like just going round and round and round. And in the teardrop, I get the feeling of like a heavy sadness, but trapped inside. So yes, this reading from the mirror, it's saying, it's here. You can't hide from it anymore. You have to face this. And that's why get the help you need. Do the spiritual work you need to do. Take it slow. Remember, just because this is calling for you, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be like a catastrophe. Every catalyst doesn't have to be a catastrophe. It depends on how we react to it when it happens. Sometimes you need a great purge, a great release. And sometimes you can let it trickle out slowly. But either way, get the help you need. Seek the truest self. This actually came up in last week's reading. And we're getting a lot of energy here about wearing that the person inside you hiding is different than the person that you are portraying on the outside. And it's okay even if you're both. But that inner version of yourself is crying to get the attention that it needs. Fall, fail, fly. I love this card because how true is it? How true is it that in society or in different spiritual paths, there's the idea of, let's just say, sin, or the idea of doing wrong and being evil and da-da-da. And a lot of times we'll be conflating something evil that's not even evil at all. It's just like someone does something like, I'm trying to think of a good example, but it might be that, in a certain family, I don't know, if you leave your shoes on and walk through the house, you might be treated like you did the worst thing in the world, when really maybe that's a house rule that you should follow, but it's not equivalent to a really huge crime, but it might be in that family. So through that, we're trained to think that mistakes are all evil, even innocent mistakes, right? And then that causes bigger and bigger problems, and you're more likely to do things later, right, that might be a little more harmful. But when you think fall, fail, fly, I think of sin in the term of the original Hebrew, which means to miss the mark. So when you mess up, you have two choices. You can either be like, oh no, I sinned, I did this horrible thing and da 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 da. Or you can say, oh, I made a mistake. I'm going to not make it again. I'm going to learn from it. And if I harmed myself or others, I'm going to fix that however I can fix it. And I'm going to do my best to never do it again. And if you move through your life with this fall, fail, fly attitude, then what you'll find is that you're less likely to do the things that hurt people. I mean, you'll still miss the mark, but you'll have such acceptance for yourself, not to excuse toxic behavior, but to maybe be gentler on yourself on behavior that might not be as bad as you think it is because maybe of cultural conditioning, if that makes sense. Wishes. And her herb garden. I'm feeling like these are some advice cards for you. You need to really think about and evaluate what you really want in life, and is it the same thing that you think that you've always said you've wanted? Because are all the things you've said you wanted actually the things you want, or are they things that you were taught to want? Like, in a lot of cultures, it's like you have to get the best job, you have to go to the best college, you have to get married, you have to have so-and-so children, you have to buy a big house. But what if there's a lot of people who don't want that, but they don't know that they want something else because they don't even know there's another possibility out there. And so this wishes card, especially with her herb garden, which is really about self-healing, tending to yourself, because herbs are often used in healing, right? And magic and healing. And an herb garden is a soft place, a gentle place, a place of healing, a quiet place. And so using some time in the quiet to reevaluate what you really want, to seek the true self, and to not be afraid to fail, right? So you have to step out of that comfort zone. And those tears I feel, it's almost like I can feel you crying inside, and you can hear yourself. So for some of you, you might even hear yourself inside crying while you keep a happy, smiley face on the outside. We are grains of sand. To see the world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower. William Blake, right? For everything a season. Turn, turn, turn. And, oh, it was upside down. No wonder I couldn't read it. As you sow, you reap. Wow, have you noticed how much like gardening themes there is in this? So it's the idea of, so what you sow, you reap. So if you let whatever these past things are that are going to try to be struggling to get out, if you let them sit and fester, whatever you sow in your heart is what grows later. I think it was Thich Nhat Hanh in his book Silence that said something along the lines of that your mind is like a house with a basement, and your subconscious is the basement. And everything that you absorb is like throwing seeds in that basement. And so you think, oh, it's fine, whatever. But then years later, it starts growing through your floor and destroying your house. So that's why you have to tend to the garden of the mind. And that you will reap what you sow. Whatever seed you throw in that basement is going to come up. And for everything a season. So maybe there was a season of your life where you needed to push that down, but now it's coming out, and it can't be ignored any longer. We are grains of sand. Life is so short. Life is so precious. There's a quote by Shantideva, the mystic, the Buddhist. Shantideva, and it says, "Hey, you, so long-suffering, you in the clutches of death, acting like an immortal. Hey, sufferer, you are destroying yourself." And to me, that means we live like we have all the time in the world, so we don't heal the things we need to heal. We don't always love the people we need to love the way that they deserve. We don't love ourselves the way that we should. We think, oh, we'll have time to do that tomorrow. We'll have time to heal that tomorrow. And I'm not saying you have to rush into anything, but what I am saying is that people have lost years of their lives on, oh, I'll do it later when it comes to healing. And I want to take just a side note moment to talk to those of you watching this who may have dealt with a narcissist, an avoidant, that kind of relationship. Not necessarily that, I'm not diagnosing anyone or anything, but people who had behaviors like that. How many people have said, oh, I'll just try one more time, and then suddenly 10 years have gone by, 5 years, 20 years. And then suddenly the sense of betrayal would be so deep against yourself because you said, how did I, obviously the sense of betrayal against them, but the sense of betrayal thinking, how did I let this happen to me? Well, first of all, be so gentle with yourself. We're talking when you get caught up in those dynamics, if, like I said, this is for a small subgroup for this reading. When you get caught up in those dynamics, it hijacks your brain. So be so gentle with yourself. You're going to have enough to heal, Let's get back to the channeled reading. Beloved, it is time for you to take some rest. Inside, things have been roiling and boiling and moving around, and it's starting to come up to the surface, and you're going to have to face it. So take a moment of calm and look to your life, your physical life, and think about how these deep-seated memories or these deep-seated pains that you struggled to work through have been influencing your behavior day to day and the way you move through the world. Maybe you move through the world more fearfully or more vigilant, or maybe you're in survival mode because of it. But yours is the energy of transmutation. Transmutation into this Queen of Pentacles energy. So you are not meant to let this fester inside of you. You are meant to soar. There's a lot of ace energy here. So that means right now you are on the cusp. But remember, when it comes to this kind of energy, you have to make a decision, and that is why judgment came up so strongly in your mirror image, because it's trying to blast those trumpets to say, wake up. You have to look at this. You have to face this. Get the help you need. Beloved, don't get mired down. Oh, I feel it right here in my stomach. The feeling of being so mired down. You are longing for this Four of Swords energy of rest and peace, but you are being compelled to rise into this Queen of Pentacles energy so that you're no longer mired down. But you have to take the opportunities that come. Beloved, you have the choice. Over and over again, I see the choice with the Lovers here and with the Empress. That depending on the choice you make depends on how long you are going to stay in the Tower moment, or if you're going to transmute this. It's always your choice. And I feel a feeling of maybe shame, but don't let shame stop you. And with this Ten of Pentacles energy, I'm just really getting so much earth energy to really ground yourself. Maybe getting out of your head, especially with this Eight of Swords energy. That is so in your head. And then that mixed with all these pentacle energies trying to pull you back and to ground you in your body. So if this memory is holding you back, if these past feelings are holding you back, beloved, you're being asked to find a way to transmute this to your advantage so that it doesn't weigh you down. Through balance, through the scales of fate, there's a lot of feeling of confusion here, something rising from deep within the subconscious mind. Something maybe that you don't even know the shape of yet. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But even if you know the shape of it, you may have pushed it down for so long. Oh. But, beloved, the world is at your fingertips. The conclusion of the cycle is coming to an end. It won't be long. It won't be long. The world. And you know, in the tree of life, the world is Malkuth, or kingdom. So it's not, even though it's the conclusion of the Fool's Journey and the major arcana in the tarot, it is not associated with crown or Keter. It's associated with the earth, with being grounded. So once again, we have this heavy energy of ground yourself as you're going through this mental work, because this mental work is going to try to put you in such a swords air energy. You need to make sure that you are grounding yourself. This is your third ace, beloved. The world asks you to conclude a cycle of ignoring this. And you're being invited over and over again, beloved, to take this opportunity. Because the longer you wait, a lot of times the deeper it gets pushed down and the harder it is to extract later. I'm not kidding. You got all 4 aces. I don't think that there can be a more significant sign for you of what I'm saying. That this is not something that necessarily is going to fall into your lap. If you want this conclusion, if you want this to happen, the opportunity is being presented to you. You're going to have to make the moves, though. All 4 aces. Aces only move if you move. It's your choice. And you know, so many people don't take those opportunities. And you know, that's okay. Everyone's on their journey. But you're here. I think you're ready. You want to take that, right? Beloved, I am creating the life of my dreams. You are the creator. You are the creator of your life. You are the creator of your destiny. Beloved, let go of the judgment of yourself. Let go of the judgment of what happened back then. Instead of holding it so tight and hiding it so deep, it's time to loosen the grip and let go. Maybe for 1 second, you just have to do one little movement at a time. But as Rumi says, you have to be opening and closing your hand. If you hold too tight, you'll get stuck. If you keep it open like this, you'll get stuck. So move it slowly. Move it slowly. Get the help you need. Beloved, I'm so grateful you came here today. Leave the judgment for yourself at the door. Understand the day of reckoning is here, but it's not a punishment. It's not to hurt you. It is to transform you. But more importantly, it's to give you the opportunity to transform yourself. The mirror is closed. The reading is closed. Thank you for being here, beloved. I hope that I'll see you next week. And good luck. as you continue the great